Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived, because he is here. Wait, what do you mean this is the wrong character? Hey everyone, Brobuscus here, and welcome back to another Let's Watch of Death Battle. Today's episode, we got Deku from My Hero versus Asta from Black Clover. Now, real quick, before we get started, I need to turn down the mic settings on OBS, because I just realized I'm peaking a little bit. Oops. I turned it up because I thought that it wouldn't be... I really should have done audio testing before this, but oh well. Okay, that should be good. Okay, anyway, so before we jump right into it, of course there should be a link in the description below. You can go watch the actual episode yourself. To go support the official release before watching some random guy on YouTube react to it, alright? Got it? Cool. So Deku versus Asta. This match got a lot of people up in arms when it was announced. But, I mean, we're here now. The episode is out, and it seems like most people have pretty much gotten over it. You know, as long as you don't go to Twitter. So, how do I know these characters? Well, I'm just going to be up front. I did not watch Black Clover in the lead up to this, like I said I would, so I apologize for that. A, I was busy. B, I didn't... I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on the series. C, I don't think there's many streaming services that have it. And yeah, it got to a point where the weeks have gone by and I just stopped trying at that point. So I admittedly I'm not very familiar with Asta. So my bias here and my personal experience here lies with Deku, which means I'm rooting for him. So interestingly enough, I think personally I don't really like modern My Hero. I explained why a little bit on the podcast. But, to summarize, I just think the idea of introducing a bunch of new quirks for Deku was kind of deviating from the original concept. Heck, I think it would have been more interesting if Deku never had a quirk. Like, he became the greatest hero without a quirk. I don't know how they would make that work, but you know what? It would have been interesting. But also just a bunch of weird moments. Like I don't like the vigilante stuff. Like Deku just. Oh, by the way, manga spoilers. I forgot to mention that. I don't know how this episode's gonna deal with it. Yeah, there was a point where Deku just straight up became Batman, and I'm like, really? Okay. Anyways, I mean, for what I actually watched of My Hero, I kind of like Deku. Like, he's not my favorite protagonist ever, but he's pretty cool. And My Hero, it's a pretty cool show. I have no strong feelings one way or the other about the show or the character. But I'm rooting for him because A, I like him more, B, I have more experience with him, and C, I am really sick and tired of the hate he gets on Twitter. And this is coming from someone who isn't really a fan of his character nowadays. When the preview came out, it was like the Black Clover community was really up in arms. I'm like, man, I kind of want Asta to lose. Just imagine that. The question is, will he lose? And the thing is that I still am not sure. Part of me wants to say Deku wins, because from everything I've gathered, which isn't a lot, and there is some debate about this, for me, as long as Deku is stronger, he probably wins. I've heard some contention over a multi-continent feat for Asta, at least for Asta to scale to. And I haven't really heard any like convincing arguments to say like, oh yeah, no, the feat's totally fine. Well, maybe not the feat, but the idea that Asta scales to it. Asta is faster, but from everything I've gathered, it sounds like a couple of Deku's quirks can work around that. Deku has a much wider variety of abilities that he can use in this fight, because a lot of Asta's main gimmick is anti-magic. It basically allows him to cut through magic beams. Quirks are not magic, so that's kind of a problem. So, like, in a sense, like, technically Asta has more battle experience, but he doesn't have a lot of experience, if any experience, against those that aren't magic. At least I think. This is coming from someone who hasn't seen Black Clover, and it's just relying on what I've heard. So I think that's the quickest intro to this ever, because I don't really have a whole lot to say. So let's just jump right in and see if I'm right or wrong. So I'm going with Deku. Let's see for ourselves what goes down.
Play.
Deku, My Hero Academia's super student straight out of UA High.
Asta, the anti-magical ass-kicker from Black Clover.
Though you may be born bereft of the same gifts as your peers, there is nothing stopping you from achieving your dreams.
As long as you're a fictional character in a fantasy world. I mean, as long as you've got your friends by your side. Punch. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Alright.
Izuku Midoriya wanted only one thing from life: to be a beacon of hope, just like his idol, the #1 ranked superhero in Japan, All Might.
Too bad he was born a freak with no powers. You heard right. This is like a reverse X-Men thing where 80% of the population gets red superpowers, or quirks as they're called, while the remaining fifth are stuck as basic bitches, or as his spiky-haired bully Bakugo called him, Deku.
That's a pun on the Japanese word dekunobu, meaning good for nothing.
Persevering despite his basic bitchedness, Midoriya got the chance to prove his quirkless heroic mettle against this giant sludge monster, much to the surprise of one particular almighty onlooker.
His body secretly decayed from a horrific injury. All Might needed to find the one who would inherit his all-powerful quirk.
And All Might didn't want just anybody. The hero world was filled with glory seekers in it for fame and money. All Might wanted someone whose body moved on its own to save someone.
He saw exactly that in young Midoriya.
That describes
him one of the most
Izuku
quirks in the world,
pretty much to a T.
For all.
That was the problem. Even after bulking up from lad to Chad, the recoil from even one punch would shatter all the bones in his arm. So he trained to be able to handle his gift at the superhero school of his dreams, UA High.
And that's when he decided to own the name used as a cudgel against him for so many years. Turns out, Deku can also be an abbreviation for Dekiru, someone who can do anything.
Exactly the opposite of Dekunobu. One for All allows Deku to release absolutely absurd amounts of strength from different parts of his body, with super moves named after US cities and states.
Deku still can't access all of his power safely though. Using 100% will quickly destroy his body, which is why he learned to distribute his strength evenly across his body, a technique known as full cowling. This lets him increase his speed and durability as well, making him more all-rounded, and shifting focus to his own interpretation of One for All inspired by his pal Ida, Shoot Style.
Where he pulls out a Glock and blows your brains out! Okay, not really, but in
I was about to say, not really.
Theme, he trades All Might's signature
Also,
punches.
I like how the footage here is him beating up Asta. That's funny.
You ever seen Rabbit vs. Gun? I have, and I know how it plays out.
Considering the much higher muscle mass of a human's legs, Shoot Style allowed Deku to output even more power while giving his arms a break. A break from a break.
Yeah.
Despite being a classic melee build, Deku can fight at range by punching powerful gusts of air, and even precisely aim them with specially designed gloves.
Deku has an encyclopedic knowledge of quirks, and is always analyzing their strengths and weaknesses mid-battle, even if he does sound a little weird.
Despite only barely getting accepted in the first place, Deku quickly became one of Class 1A's most dependable fighters. Because, somehow these students are constantly getting drafted into literal wars against murderous supervillains.
Midoriya's successes in battle against ruthless criminals like Stain, Muscular, and Overhaul came much to his old bully's chagrin. Where Bakugo was a child prodigy, he now found himself overshadowed by his hard-working rival, and the two would use their mutual respect and animosity to motivate each other to get stronger.
Classic frenemies. They're only
Pretty
solving
much.
problems by pounding the living tar out of each other.
Luckily for him, Deku soon learned that living tar pounding wasn't the only thing he could do. Turns out, One for All did not originate with All Might. It had been passed down 8 times until it arrived at Deku, with each inheritance also carrying the previous user's natural quirk as well.
Like Black Whip, which lets him manifest crazy long and strong energy tendrils to tie enemies up and swing around the city, or shoot one out of his mouth.
Kinda like Spider-Man.
Froppy.
And Danger Sense,
Or
which gives
Froppy,
minor
sure.
reactive precognition.
AKA, he's Spider-Man. Not even a reach. The mangaka is like the biggest Spidey fan ever.
He can also produce a
Makes
smoke
sense.
screen to mask his
What are you
presence,
doing?
float in midair, or store kinetic energy over time with Fa Jin. Oh,
Like that. By storing up enough.
What the heck was that about?
Light's max power without any recoil to boot. Strong enough to change the weather and create city block-sized tornadoes with a single punch.
and he's even stronger with his newest quirk, Gear Shift, which allows him to increase the speed of an object anytime he touches it. In conjunction with the power of All for One, he can use this to warp reality itself. Deku can go toe-to-toe with arch-villains like Shigaraki, who's fast enough to react to and catch laser beams with his bare hands.
But nothing can prepare him for All Might's archenemy, the shadowy leader of the League of Villains, All for One.
All Might only ever showed his young pupil kindness and support, but that couldn't change the absolutely crushing pressure Deku felt at every moment.
Even classically trained dickhead Bakugo came to help his teammate out when he needed it. Like when they teamed up to share One for All and punch an island-sized hole in the clouds 24 miles high.
Just goes to show that even One for All isn't a one-man army. Deku's true strength comes from his teamwork between himself and his friends.
And with their help, Deku will surely become that beacon of hope he dreamt about as a child.
One hero for all mankind.
Wow, they didn't go much into manga spoilers at all.
Magic! You know it, you love it, and in the world of Black Clover, it doesn't come from a box you bought at a tacky West Hollywood costume shop. Everyone's got it.
Mana is the source of all magic, a supernatural energy found in the air and in living beings. Except living beings whose names are Asta.
Not only
Oof.
was the young Asta an orphan abandoned by his mother at a church as a
Catchphrase.
baby, he was born with a mutation that prevents him from having any mana to speak of. Well, neither do I, and you don't hear me crying about it.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
all
Asta.
of the time. But Asta had a dream. Despite his lack of magic, he and his best friend Yuno promised each other one of them would rise to the
I
throne
still can't
of
get over
the
that his name is
military
Yuno.
position in the land, the Wizard King. Wizard King? Really, guys? Sometimes they call it Magic Emperor, but we all know what they mean.
So, he dedicated himself to getting swole as all hell in a world of nerds. He would be its lone jock god, shoving every last wizard into a locker until they crowned him king.
But huge, frightening pectorals
Okay.
and a tiny, screaming goblin child weren't enough on its own. He needed something powerful enough to shut down his opponent's magic.
He needed the 5-leaf Clover Grimoire.
Essentially a book of spells, a grimoire will choose its user and float beside their wielder at all times.
And Asta was lucky enough to receive the Uno Reverse card of Grimoires. The 5-leaf Clover can harness the power of anti-magic, which will literally nullify the effects of other magic spells. Almost like Wizard Kryptonite. Let the locker stuffing commence! Haha, get it, nerds!
It wasn't long before Asta was accepted into one of the 9 squads of Clover Kingdom's Magic Knights, the Black Bulls, filled with lazy drunkards, antisocial otakus, and literal sociopaths.
My kind of
Oh.
people. Yep, mostly. But much like with Asta, you shouldn't judge a grimoire by its cover. And soon they were all working together and kicking ass like a family should.
Asta harnesses the power of anti-magic by summoning swords imbued with it from the grimoire. Normally, these swords would quickly drain the mana from anyone foolish enough to wield them, but Asta does not have any mana, turning his greatest weakness into a one-of-a-kind strength.
He's got his classic Demon Slayer, an enormous greatsword which cuts through spells with its edge and deflects them with its flat. Or the Demon Dweller, which can also absorb and copy magic, then toss it right back.
Also, the idea of the sword being called Demon Slayer is funny to me.
Complex Demon Destroyer, which severs the relationship between a spell's cause and effect, countering the effects of its magic. This could result in anything from healing a village that was inflicted with poison to preventing reincarnation.
Yeah, okay, some of these can get a little heady. I personally prefer keeping it simple, like using anti-magic telekinesis to surf on your sword through the sky.
It's worth noting that these
Sure.
swords are made specifically for countering magical attacks and sources of mana. The swords will act as though blunted when striking non-magical foes, more akin to giant clubs than actual blades. Not entirely inconsistent with real-life greatswords.
But none of that's even close to as cool as his deadliest sword, the Demon Slasher, a katana as black as the pits of hell and twice as badass.
This one actually does cut like a sword, but it's complicated. It lets Asta actually select what he does and does not want to cut, only affecting his target while leaving anything else unharmed.
Wow.
At this point, isn't that just magic?
Magic with a loophole.
And he studied the blade long enough to become a master swordsman to boot. Not in the real-life sense, in the anime sense.
He can spin
Of
himself
course.
like a tornado to deflect magic spells, thrust forward at top speed like a charging bull, launch a barrage of anti-magic projectiles, and even channel anti-magic into his swords to vastly increase their size.
Yeah.
While he may be no good with mana, he has learned to detect ki. Because, of course,
The life
Yeah,
force
why
is
not?
something in all things. Asta can detect hidden opponents and even predict their movements ahead of time, as long as he's fast enough to react.
with such crazy powers, Asta was taking on threats like the Eye of the Midnight Sun, the Devil Zagrid, and the Dark Triad. So many nerds, never enough lockers. Too bad for Asta, though. He had one serious inner demon.
Literally, housed within the five-leaf clover grimoire was Liba, a demon exiled from hell for completely lacking magical powers, and who just so happened to get adopted by Asta's mother.
Until he got possessed
Wonder
by
why.
a different demon and killed her. Vowing vengeance on all demonkind, Liba manifested anti-magic from his hatred as a way to kick their asses, which gave him and Asta a lot of common ground, despite the whole, mom murder thing.
In fact, the two became true brothers.
Why are they
before
taking the book from
Dude,
each other?
Liba can actually fully merge with Asta for a massive power boost that lasts up to 5 minutes, at the cost of leaving Asta nearly powerless for the next half hour.
Come on, I want it. Yeah, I'll take it if I get to be strong enough to slice buildings to pieces, obliterate huge chunks of earth, and tear the most powerful demons apart. Give me the goddamn book. I'm the book boy, okay?
Even characters earlier in
Anyways.
the series like Patoli had magic capable of completely vaporizing the entire Clover Kingdom in a single attack. And demons that Asta has fought since then, like Dante and Lucifero, are leagues stronger.
Hell,
There's a
screw
character
all these
in
demon forms and
Black Clover named
anti-magic
Dante? Wow.
powers. Asta's body is so incredibly well trained, he dodged a beam of light while sleeping. As in, he was asleep, and the force of his sneeze pushed his head out of the way of a beam of light.
Good
Light
grief.
sneezes, everyone.
And despite his headstrong and irritating personality,
AKA screaming at the top of his lungs as often as possible.
Asta is an intelligent fighter who has leveraged his skill against far more experienced foes.
But he wouldn't be anywhere without the ragtag band of deviants he calls friends. With them at his side, there's no way he won't climb the ranks to take the Wizard King's throne. Especially with Yuno pushing them both to get stronger.
Unlike other classic shonen rivalries, this one isn't tainted by antagonism. They truly want what's best for each other, even if they're competing for the same throne.
Yuno's gonna need
Good for
all the
them.
luck he can get, cause even if Asta never gets mana of his own, his true magic is never given up.
Alright, the combatants are set and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
And pause. Okay. I feel like that really just confirmed what I was saying earlier. But I feel like I'm also feeling like I'm missing something, because I don't recall any big impressive strength feats mentioned for Asta. I might have talked through some of them. Like, I know that, you can, cut through, the toughest demons. His sword can grow to, building size. But again, I think the big thing that's working against Asta here is his anti-magic, because it's not that useful. Like, it's useful in his world, but when compared to Deku, whose quirks are not magic, he's not going to be able to cut through him. The katana does cut through. I did forget to mention the katana. It can cut through people like a normal sword. So I guess if Asta can get a good hit in and he's stronger, then that would be good, because Deku does have a pretty good durability against piercing weapons. Again, I feel like I'm missing something. I kind of want to go with Deku. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's something going on here that I'm missing. They both have feats of dodging lasers, or they both have laser feats, basically. What Deku scales to Shigaraki, who did that. Asta did it by sneezing. I'd say Asta's is obviously more impressive. Although I wonder, I guess it doesn't matter, because I was thinking, like, I wonder how much precognition had to deal with it, but I guess, I don't know, maybe it didn't matter. I don't know, I think I'm gonna go with Deku. I'm almost positive that I missed something for Asta, that's gonna give him an obvious win, but here we go, going with Deku. And I am very, very curious, because not only do I not know who's going to win this, but I also have no clue what the season finale is. So that'll be interesting. I don't know whether to be excited or terrified. So maybe both. Let's jump right in.
Sword that big? He's got to be crazy strong. I'm going to have to rely on more than just my power to take him down.
Deku's voice actor is really good, by the way.
Just gotta hit him really hard.
I can't comment on Asta's. Also, the SpongeBob Aquaman reference at the top. That was neat. I also really like the music. It's good. It's like Mighty mixed with Marvel for All.
Supposed to be sharp?
Usually.
His speed isn't slowed by his sword's weight at all. Gotta hamper his movements and get that book out of his hands. Huh? He found me!
Alright, preview's over.
Now it's my turn.
Okay.
Are you not using magic? What kind of magic emperor would I be if I can't beat a guy like this? Detroit Smash!
Yeah, that voice crack. Oh. Clever. Okay, Katana's being brought out pretty quick.
Detroit Smash!
I feel like Deku's plan isn't gonna work now. He wanted to get the book away. Now he's done it. Yeah, I can't speak.
I don't know what Detroit is, but I've had enough of it. I'm ending this quick! Hit me with all you've got, because I'm never going down!
Asta's voice actor's going in. Curious who it is. Ow. Jeez, okay.
It's not going all out anymore. I just gotta hit him really hard.
This might be it. One-stroke duel.
I did it.
Not done yet. Ah. Well, jeez. Okay.
Detroit.
Oh no. Alright, that was fun. Dang.
Poor Deku. He tried his best, but Asta just shoved him into that great big locker in the sky.
Both Deku and Asta were fairly evenly matched melee fighters without any specific abilities to give one an easy edge over the other. Though, to be fair, the variety of quirks Deku inherited from past users of One For All did make him more versatile and unpredictable.
Plus, quirks are biological mutations, not connected to some supernatural energy source like mana, so Asta's anti-magic powers were basically useless here.
And Deku was generally a smarter and more tactical fighter, but against Asta's incredible might, this time brawn beat brains.
Let's crunch some numbers! Deku's greatest feat of strength was splitting that enormous cloud formation with Bakugo.
By measuring the size of the island and comparing it to the clouds above, we can determine they dispersed over 63 trillion kilograms of water.
That's the weight of the Great Pyramid of Giza. 12,000 of them!
And required an energy of nearly 80 teratons of TNT
Wow.
per punch.
Let's compare that to Asta. But Toli's spell was going to be strong enough to vaporize a country the size of the Clover Kingdom.
We can use this map from the manga to estimate the size of Clover Kingdom to be about 500 kilometers in diameter, about half the length of Great Britain. Vaporizing a country of that size would require an energy of over 480 teratons of TNT, over 6 times greater than Deku's punch.
While Asta uses anti-magic, it isn't an automatic counter. It needs to be comparable in strength to the spell it's combating. And Asta's gotten way stronger since.
Asta was also quicker. Sure, scaling to Shigaraki would give Deku roughly light speed reaction time.
But Asta could dodge light in his sleep.
Yeah.
His base form, even before transforming with Liba to get way faster.
And since Deku and Asta's precognitive abilities more or less matched each other, it was only a matter of time before Asta simply overwhelmed him.
Especially since Deku has struggled in the past against faster opponents. Sure, Deku was smarter, but if he literally didn't have enough time to come up with a plan of attack before getting hammered, his brains were wasted.
Deku's tactical brilliance and harem-scarum tenacity definitely gave his opponent a run for his money, but Asta's raw power, blinding speed, and deadlier weaponry spelled the end for All Might's pupil.
Deku gave it his all,
Dang.
and I wish he had won. Hasta la vista.
The winner is...
Obvious pun. Oh well.
Hey, if you want more Death Metal ASAP, why not grab a membership?
That was Michael
Exclusive
Kovac?
emotes,
Okay.
badges, live chat, live streams, and a bunch of behind
Alright,
the scenes
season
stuff.
finale.
Just click that join button. Thanks for watching.
That's... Wait! Gogeta and Vegito? Oh! That is not the matchup I was expecting, but alright. That'll be an interesting one. That's always been an interesting comparison, but it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. 2 Dragon Ball... Wow, wow. I just realized this is a very Dragon Ball heavy, because we had Vegeta, we had Trunks, and now we have Gogeta and Vegito. So, Alright. That'll be interesting. I mean, right off the bat, I'm kind of thinking Gogeta. I just feel like... Because, maybe I'm wrong, but Gogeta came out in canon after Vegito did, and he fought Broly and won, whereas Vegito fought Goku Black and lost. I don't know, maybe I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, kind of hope Gogeta wins. Just in general, I think that's the one I prefer. But it'll be interesting to say the very least. Very interested to see what they do for the voice acting on that one. That'll be fun. As for this fight, I thought this was pretty good. The thing that's holding it back for me was Deku's sprite was kind of weird looking, but it's not terrible. And just in general, my lack of investment in Black Clover just does kind of push things back a little bit, but not too much. I still enjoyed the fight. Who was the? Ooh, I missed it because I was focusing on on who was voicing Asta. It was Nick as the announcer. Okay. I had a feeling because then Hercule shows up at the very end. that was a good callback. I like it. But man, poor Deku. That's gotta suck. I really thought he had it. I really thought there was a chance he could pull it off, but I guess I did miss something for Asta. Oh well. So that's another prediction of mine wrong. Okay. So I mean, both voice actors did a great job. The music is great. I like it a lot. The animation in general was really cool. The fighting was really cool. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this one. It was a fun episode. Definitely not ranking incredibly high on my in my top episodes of the season, but it's still good. I like it. The other thing that's holding it back though is the death, because it felt very sudden. Like all of a sudden, like Asta's swords are above Deku, and he just like slams them down on him and he dies. Like that I don't know. I do like the somewhat fake out though. I kind of wish it went on a little longer, just to kind of like maybe have it settle in a little bit. Like, oh, maybe Deku did win. But nope. Again, oh well. It is no big deal to me. But with that, I think I've said all I need to say. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Next time we will be watching Gogeta versus Vegito. That'll be an interesting fight. Very curious how that one goes. So with that, we're calling it here. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.